Well, morning. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming out to the first session of the last day. Can I get a quick show of hands who has actually used UEFN? It's pretty good. Who's used MetaHuman in UEFN? Pretty similar number. A live link into UEFN? Okay, no one. All right, well, everyone's going to learn something about that today then. So my name's Richard Graham. I'm a technical product manager on the virtual production team of Unreal Engine. But I've also been working on putting some of the virtual production tools that we have in Unreal Engine into UEFN and gradually exposing them to allow creators to have similar and the same, in many cases, workflows. So what we're going to go through today is a step-by-step guide to capturing some face animation with MetaHuman Animator, some body motion using LiveLink Hub, and the tracking system that I'm wearing at the moment, which is the Sony Makopi system. Eventually we're going to put that onto a digi-double of myself that I've made in MetaHuman Creator and put that into a game and, watch a very short, simple cinematic that we're going to record live in the session. So for those of you that didn't put your hands up for having used LiveLink Hub in UEFN, which I think was almost everybody, there's a tutorial on the Epic developer community walking you through the process of both setting up LiveLink Hub and the IK retargeting workflow to go from, in this case, the Sony Makopi skeleton to effectively whatever skeleton you want. But in the tutorial, it's the Fortnite mannequin. I'm going to go through the steps of basically the same material as that tutorial, but for reference, if you want to take that away, then please feel free. So I'm going to start with the face today, and we're going to go do the MetaHuman creation part of it. Then we'll do the body capture, get the retargeting set up. Then we're going to record the motion intake recorder, make a very small cinematic sequence, and then push that into the game and see if we can test it. So here is my very simple Unreal UEFN session, pardon me. And so the first thing you're going to want to do is create a MetaHuman capture source. So the capture source has a number of ways of connecting to the phone, or rather getting the footage in. Today I'm going to use a wired connection to the phone.
That's your clever way of showing us what not to do.
Exactly, yeah. That is a common mistake. I'll probably make several of those during the course of this. There are quite a lot of steps to it. So now if I go back to the application, when the application's running, yeah, there you go, it will go green and you'll be able to see the footage that's on the phone. So we're going to start by downloading a piece of footage and creating a MetaHuman identity. So I'm going to take my identity clip, I'm going to add it to the queue, and I'm going to hit import all. Now that's going to download the video file that's previously been recorded from the phone, and in my content browser, it will then create a piece of capture data footage, and these assets that are basically pointers to the image sequences that represent the footage for the video and for the depth. So once I've got my footage ingested, I'm going to create a MetaHuman identity. So this begins with obviously nothing in it, and we have to work through these steps to get to a valid identity. So the first thing we'll do is create the components we need from the footage. Now, I think that's the right one. Yeah. So I choose the piece of footage I want, and then it will pass the material and then create the components I need. There we go. So there's the footage I shot. We need to set the body type, and then if I go back to neutral pose. So basically you want to pick a frame where I'm in a neutral pose, which I pretty much was for the whole of this. You can either click this plus button here or just promote the frame at the top. So that's going to be the front view. the markers are tracked. I'm going to hit MetaHuman identity solve. Okay, so that's created a mesh, and then we now need to do mesh to MetaHuman, which in this case, I'm just going to create the face mesh only because I've already made the body, because there won't be time for me to do the whole process. If you do want to push it out to MetaHuman Creator, you want the second option here. So you've got an asset in your MetaHuman Creator browser when you use that tool on the web. So I'm going to hit Auto Rig, just the skeleton, and it's going to ask me to log in. And then I hope everyone else has two-factor authentication set up. Okay. So while that's running, what we should see is, a new skeletal mesh has been created here. It doesn't yet have my likeness. Once this process is finished, it should. There we go. That's very roughly my likeness. So the last step is prepare for performance, and I won't click that now because that's the one that takes several minutes just to run, and it's a thread-locked process. I think it was taking about 5 or 6 minutes on this machine when I was doing it earlier. So I've prepared an identity already. So at this point, if you've created your identity, your skeletal mesh with the body mesh, you can then go to you can prepare the performance, and then basically in MetaHuman Creator, for as long as you want, tweak the parameters until you get as close to your doppelganger as you can. And then when that's complete, it will be available in the Fab store. Actually, no, sorry, it's in the MetaHuman animator. It's in the MetaHuman importer right now, if you want to pull it in. So I have already made my MetaHuman. Here he is. So at this point, we've got on identity a doppelganger likeness of me, and we can move to putting the body motion onto this character. So to put the body motion onto the character, what I'm going to do is I'm going to import an FBX of the Makopi skeleton, which I'm going to do now. I need to allow that to be used with skeletal meshes. It's just the material that's automatically created when it's imported. So this is a copy of the Makopi skeleton, which I don't know if those of you can see is like tracking me now on the phone. I'll calibrate it better in a moment. So we're going to stream the data onto the Makopi skeleton, and then we're going to retarget it over to the MetaHuman. So to begin the retargeting process, we need to create an IK rig for the source. And this is as simple as auto create chains, auto create IK. you can tune it as well to get slightly better results if you just filter to the goals. And if you set the depth, the chain depth on the goals to 2. Now what that means is that when the solver runs for that IK effector, it will affect the first 2 joints more than the subsequent ones. So, if I pushed my wrist, the elbow will fold rather than pushing the deformation into the chest. So I need to set the chain depth there, and then on the solver itself, I'll set the sub-iterations to 10. So basically, we'll do 10 iterations of that short solve, and then 20 iterations of the whole body solve. So that's setting up the IK rig for the source, and then from that IK rig, we need an IK retargeter that ties 2 skeletons together. So I'm going to make a retargeter asset that takes as its source the Mekopi, and the MetaHumans come with an IK rig inbuilt. So I'm going to choose that, and immediately you can see that the pose is being copied between the 2, but it's not quite right because the hands aren't in the right position. And that's because their bind poses are different. So we can go out of running retarget mode to edit retarget pose mode. And if we hit auto align all bones, it does a pretty good job of lining the bones up across the two skeletons. Okay, so that's our retargeting asset setup. What we need now is to put the Mekopi skeleton into the scene and get the animation flowing between those two skeletons. So I'm now going to launch LiveLink Hub, which is a separate application, and it currently supports these motion capture systems. As we move towards Unreal 5.5, we're going to make this LiveLink Hub will be able to load its own plugins, basically. So the marketplace of all the LiveLink plugins will be available, not just the skeletal motion ones, but the ones that are used for camera tracking and all the other virtual production tools that use LiveLink. But for now, these are the ones that are available. So I want to choose a Mekopi source. And nothing will come up yet until I start streaming. And then there's a Mekopi skeleton streaming there. So LiveLink Hub exists because we can't put all of the third-party plugins into UEFN. So what it does is it connects to those plugins and then forwards the data to the UEFN editor. And then what you'll see when you've got successful connection to LiveLink Hub is this toast down here, and it will actually show you what sources and subjects are being sent across. So previously, you would have to do this with animation blueprints in traditional mocap workflows in Unreal, but in UEFN, we don't have those. So what we've done is we've made a component called a performer component. And essentially what it does is it allows animation to be driven. Let me just reset my position. There we go. So it drives the animation of the character without needing an animation blueprint. I'll sort the calibration out in a moment. So once we've got it working on the Mekopi skeleton, what we want to do is get it onto our target MetaHuman. And the way that we can do that is, again, with another component called a retarget component. So if you add the retarget component to your actor, it can be any skeletal mesh. In this case, it's a MetaHuman. We want to set the source to be the Mekopi component. We want to set the body to be the controlled component. And then we want to use the retargeter that we just made, which is that one. And now the animation is being copied between the two. So I think I should probably recalibrate just so that the motion's a bit more plausible. That's a bit better. Yeah, okay. Cool. So at this point now, we're ready to record this motion in Take Recorder and also record a facial performance. So I'm going to put the headset on. with the phone. It's just, So I'm just going to set my take name to be live demo. And I'm going to do the same in take recorder. So if I open take recorder, so to record just the MetaHuman here, I just add it to take recorder. And crucially, what we really want to do is we don't need to record all of the different skeletal meshes. We just need to record the body because everything else follows what the body does. That way we only end up with one animation clip rather than 4 or however many there are for your different skeletal mesh components. And there's one gotcha that I should bring your attention to, which is that when you're recording, you should just force the LOD to be 0, because if you're recording and there are bones missing, as there are in the lower LODs, those bones are missing from the recording, and so you end up with strange deformation. So you should set it to 0. That's not the best long-term solution. We're going to make that better, but for now, you should set the LODs to 0. Okay. So I think we're ready to record in UEFN. I'm going to wear that headset. Okay, so to start recording, I hit record here, and I'm going to hit record on the phone as well. So we're recording. We're going to go old school with the synchronization for today. So I'll keep this relatively short because we don't want to sit and watch the calibration of the performance taking too long at the end. I think it's probably already long enough already. So I'm going to cut there. Okay, take the headset off. Put that back on, otherwise things... Oh, put it on upside down. So all of this is to really show that it is feasible to do this solo. There's a little bit of juggling, but it is possible to do it. Okay, so I'm going to stop streaming there and just check that our recording is good. So yes, we've got a piece of animation. And the clap. Cool. Okay, so we want to get the footage off the phone and into the ingest process. So I'm going to go back to Capture Manager, the phone, and now we've got that piece of live demo footage. Add that to the queue and import it. Check that that's there. Yep. Okay, great. So once that's imported, what I need is to create a MetaHuman performance asset. So MetaHuman live demo. And I want to use the piece of footage that we just created. And the identity I want to use is, I think, my original one. Yep. Okay, so here, I'm just going to hit. So you do get a warning if you haven't prepared the MetaHuman identity correctly. So now it's going through and it's tracking the contours of my face. You'll see that none of the eye darts are there. So this is a 3-pass process. The first 2 are roughly the same sort of speed. And then the last one just tracks the audio for your tongue animation. So now it's just tracking the tongue. For today, okay, so you do get a warning if the quality's not great. I think probably the overhead lighting in here is not favourable to it. You should always try and shoot with very even lighting on the face as much as possible. Okay, so we've got our performance tracked. Now we just want to turn that into a piece of animation. So we're going to create an animation sequence with that in. Crucially here, we do not want to export the head movement because we already have that in the body motion. So I'm going to uncheck that and create the animation sequence, which we now have. There we go. Okay, so at this point, we basically have our body performance and our facial performance ready to put into a level sequence. So I'm going to create a new level sequence. To assemble all of this. And don't need to take recorder anymore, close that. So what I want to do is I want to bring my MetaHuman into the level sequence and delete the control boards. We also don't need now the retarget component, so we can remove that. And we can also safely now delete the Makopi mannequin because we only need that for the process of when we're recording. So I can remove that from the scene as well. Okay. So on the face, we want to add the clip that we've just created. So it's obviously substantially longer than a regular 150 frames. And then we also want to add animation for the body component. And that would be that. Okay, when I said we were doing old school sync, we're going to find the clap, mark it, and we also need the audio. So I'm going to bring the audio across and put that into the level sequence. The audio will obviously line up with the face. We're recording. Let's give that a bit more volume. We're recording. We're going to go old school with the synchronization for today. In fact, let's mark that frame. Today, so I'm just going to set the in and out points of the sequence. This relatively so hopefully now we've got body and face in synchronization. Play that back. So I'll keep this relatively short because we don't want to sit and watch the calibration of the performance taking too long at the end. I think it's probably already long enough already. Let's add a bit more. Okay, so now we have a level sequence with the body and the face synchronized together. There are workflows that actually allow you to use timecode to do that, but I didn't want to go into too much trouble with that today. There will be an update actually to the LiveLink Face application so that it can be a timecode source for everything else in the process. So what you would do is you would get the time. Basically, you get the timecode from the phone. In LiveLink Hub, there is an option here to make a source. The source make one of the subjects the source of your timecode, and then it will set the timecode in the engine. I didn't do that today just because I felt like that was too much complication with timecode. And also, it's not on the live app yet. We're still testing it. So I've got this level sequence, and I've got my, I don't know if you saw, but I've already got the game running. So what we need now is basically to be able to trigger this animation. So the way that we do that is with a trigger device. That one. So this is just a device you can run over, and it will, send a signal to anything else that's bound to it. And to play things back, we need a cinematic sequence device. So if I drag that in, it's in the world, and the sequence it's going to play back is the one that we've just made. So LS live demo. And we want to hook up its play function to the trigger. And basically, on triggered, we want to play. Okay, so I think, fingers crossed, we're ready to push that into the game and see if we like the results or if we want to go back and have another go at it. So this is another point where we might have to wait for a few moments. Yeah, we've got to save those assets. And so I'll keep this relatively short because we don't want to sit and watch the calibration of the performance taking too long at the end. I think it's probably already long enough already. There we go. So there we go. That's from beginning to end, the whole process of getting MetaHuman Animate, getting a MetaHuman identity, creating a digital double of yourself, animating it with LiveLink Face, and MetaHuman Animator using a motion capture system to do the body, synchronizing it, pushing it into a game. I know it's a very crude example, but it shows you, we've done that in 30 minutes from start to finish. So there's great opportunities for creating sort of NPC and story type moments in any experiences that you're making. That at this point is the end of the demo. All right. Thanks everyone for coming.